Hey everyone, Kelly Dean Allen here again. Now, back in the mid-80s, here in Canada, we had a very radio-friendly rock band who pumped out an absolute string of chart-topping hits throughout the mid to late 80s. Unfortunately, with regards to international success, the majority of those big hits did not seem to make much of a dent outside the confines of Canada. Then, as the 90s hit and grunge took a firm hold of everyone's ears, destroying all in its wake, it seems, I suppose this band's brand of radio-friendly rock, much like hair metal, was no longer de rigueur, and the band pretty much faded from the spotlight. That band was, and still is to this day, Honeymoon Suite. And today, I'm going to show you guys how to play their first big hit, New Girl Now, from their debut album. So let's close in and get started, yeah? Alright then, Derry, Grehan, Honeymoon Suite, and New Girl Now from 1984. We are in standard tuning for this tutorial, and this track starts with an A power chord off to an E power chord. So we're going to kickstart this A power chord with a quick little upstroke, and then we're going to hammer on that A power chord twice. Grab the third fret of the low E string, little tiny downwards tug, drop off to an E power chord, which you're going to hammer on 4 times, choking off that power chord each time. Right? And you repeat that 3 times. And I should mention what I just did there. So the third time you're playing through that riff, right? You're grabbing the 4th fret of the G string as part of this E power chord, right? It's one of the notes. It's the B note there. It's the 5th interval. You're going to kind of hold that note and then catch the top 2 strings on the upstroke along with that note, right? Right? Something like that. And then just leading into the first verse, we're going to drop out of the main riff, drop into a D chord with the open E string, and just let it ring for like a 6 count, right? 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, choke it off. And then we're into the first verse. First verse is going to be using this E5 chord, which is E power chord holding the 2nd fret bar, right? And then the 4th fret of the G string with your pinky. So that is going to be the first chord that we're going to be using in the verse. So we're going to hit this chord, right? Bottom 4 strings. And then we're going to be bouncing off the open E string into all the other chords. So we're going to drop into this chord here, which is the 4th fret of the A string and the 2nd fret of the G with the open D in between. And then you're going to move that up to 5 of the A and 4 of the G with the open D in the middle. And then you're going to move it back to the 4-2, and when you go back to the 4-2, you're going to hit it twice with like a little mute in the middle, right? And then repeat. And after you repeat it 4 times during the first verse, we just drop into an E power chord, hammer on it 4 or 5 times, right? And then we're into the pre-chorus. Now the pre-chorus, we're going to drop down into D, same D we were using earlier with the open E, A, E. D, A, E. And then he plays that little lick after the second repeat during the pre-chorus. Second fret of the G, sliding into 4. Grab the 5 of the B, and then back to the 4 and let them ring together, right? D, A, E, D. So that's the pre-chorus. D, A, E, ba, ba. D, A, E. D, A, E, back to D. And then we're into the opening riff again, which is the chorus. Three times. And then the third time you drop back into D, I think you do like a 4 count, and then you hammer on that D 4 times. And then we're into the second verse. And I think he's sliding into the chords this time, whereas in the first verse he wasn't. He was just dropping onto them, right? Right? The second verse he's sliding into them. Except the first one, of course. D, A, E, ba-bam. D, A, E, little lick. D, A, E, D. Second chorus. Three times. Down to D. Now we're leading into the bridge. We're going to hammer on this D 6 times. Right? And then we're into the bridge section, which is a very cool little intro into the solo. Right, so we're using a combination of palm muted notes and non-palm muted notes, so it's kind of interesting. So we're going to start with an open E string, and then we're going to go 7 of the A off to 5. The first one's palm muted, the second one's not. And you're going to slide out of that, right? Now you're going to do the same thing from 5 to 4, and then you're going to do the same thing from 4 to 3. Sliding out of every second note, and every first note is palm muted. Into this lick. Open A, drop onto the 1, down to the open D, back to the 1, back off to open, grab the 3rd fret of the low E. I was certain he was doing it here. It would make a little more sense to do it there on the 2nd fret. But I watched a tutorial of him himself teaching this, and he's going off the 1. Right? Now, you're going to repeat that 4 times, and after the second repeat, you're not going to do this. You're not going to do the full lick. You're going to kind of choke it off on the open D. Right? And then open A, 3rd fret, off to open, repeat, right? Right, and then we're into the solo. So let me run through the solo first, and then we'll dig into how to play it. So that is the solo right there. E minor pentatonic blues scale combination. So we're starting here on the 2nd fret of the G string. 3 bends. 3rd bend you're going to release off to open G and grab the 2 of the D. Right? And then we're going to hang in this spot. And then we're going to do that. So we're going to bend that again nice and slow and picking it a lot faster, right? Release it off to open. D off to open, back on, right? And then we're into this. So we're sliding into 4 of the G down to 3 of the B, little back and forth a couple of times. And then drop onto the 5 of the B. Into this lick. All minor pentatonic stuff, right? Finishing on the 2 of the D. So that's the intro of the solo, or about the first half actually. Now we're going to move up here to the 12th fret position box of the E minor pentatonic blues scale. We're into this. Bit of a longer run here, bending the 14 of the G, grabbing the 15 of the high E with our pinky. Release that bend off to 12, grab the 14 of the D. Finish the lick with that. So we're getting a little more into the blues scale here by dropping onto the 15, right? So we're going to be like hammering on 14 to 15, or 12 to 14 to 15. And the last 8 or 9, the last 8 or 9 notes are all on the 12, 14 of the D and the G. Finishing 12 G up to 14 of the D, right? So that's that lick. I'm not going to pull apart every single fret number and note here, but I'll just play it one more time nice and slow. Right? Then we're into this. Doing the exact same thing we did back here. Right? But now we're doing it an octave higher. Sliding into 16 of the G, down to 15 of the B, back and forth 4 or 5 times. And then drop onto the 17 of the B. And then finish the solo with this. Longer lick as well. Finishes with a little back and forth, 15 to 12, back onto 15 for a full step bend of the B. Alright, that's the end of the solo. So let's take it right from the top and we'll be done because we're just dropping back into another pre-chorus and then into another chorus which repeats twice. And so from the beginning of the solo. And there you have it. That is how you play New Girl Now by Honeymoon Suite. Certainly hope you enjoyed the video, found it helpful, and if you did, please hit that like button right down there. Maybe drop me a subscribe if you haven't done that already, as that would be very kind. Hope you're well out there in your little guitar corner of the world, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.